Okay, so in an earlier video, I discussed some of the legality of plagiarizing ChatGPT, and then I revealed at the end of the video that I actually had ChatGPT write the script of the video, kind of like just for fun. Anyway, I was trying to get some B-roll for that video, so I decided I'm going to ask the same question to ChatGPT again, just to show it kind of being typed out and all that. But then when I asked the question again, it gave me a different and actually much better response. So in this video, I want to share that response with you, and I want to give you a little bit of my own analysis on the subject because, you know, a computer always beats a human in chess, but a computer and a human working together beat a computer acting alone. And so we're going to apply some of that principle to this video. I'm going to give you ChatGPT's thoughts on plagiarizing ChatGPT, as well as a little bit of my own analysis. Okay, so the question I asked ChatGPT was, write approximately 500 words on the legality of plagiarizing ChatGPT. That was the question I asked for the last video, and that was the question I asked when it gave me, a few days later, a much better response. It actually spit out not 500 words, but 373 words, just FYI. Okay, so here they are. ChatGPT says, plagiarism is the act of copying someone else's work and passing it off as one's own. So right off the bat, that's a better answer because it is clearer and simpler, and it touches on the 2 points of copying somebody else's work and lacking attribution. Anyway, back to ChatGPT. In the context of ChatGPT, plagiarism would refer to using the responses generated by the model without properly crediting the source. Plagiarism is generally considered to be a serious offense both in academia and in the broader world of writing and publishing. So back to me again, that is a better response than the first time because it separates the different contexts in which this is important. So this really matters to you. The context in which you are using ChatGPT is so important. I'm going to talk about that at the end. Should you even be thinking about just plagiarism, or should you be thinking about copyright? It depends who you are and how you're using ChatGPT, so stick around for that after I finish reading GPT's response to you. So ChatGPT goes on. In the academic context, plagiarism is considered to be a form of academic dishonesty and can result in severe consequences, such as a failing grade on a paper or exam, or even expulsion from school. Most schools and universities have strict policies in place to prevent plagiarism and to punish those who are engaging in it. So that's the academic context. But then it goes on to talk about another context, publishing. Okay, it says, in the world of publishing, plagiarism can have similarly serious consequences. Many professional organizations, such as the Society of Professional Journalists, have strict ethical codes that prohibit plagiarism. Engaging in plagiarism can result in professional sanctions, such as loss of membership in these organizations, or even legal action. So they talk about academia, they talk about journalism, at least as a couple of contexts in which plagiarism can be treated very seriously, but also slightly differently. Okay, now ChatGPT applies it to the bot, the natural language model. ChatGPT says, when it comes to using ChatGPT, it is important to properly credit the source of the model's responses. This means that any text generated by the model should be clearly marked as such, and the source should be properly cited. Failure to do so could be considered plagiarism and could result in the same consequences as if the text had been copied from another person's work. So it's a little unclear to me. Again, I think they're talking about just if you use ChatGPT, you've got to cite ChatGPT. But of course, ChatGPT's responses are generated based on a lot of inputs, a lot of training data that the OpenAI company has fed into the natural language model to teach it. So I don't think it's reasonable to think that you can cite their underlying training data, but ChatGPT is saying that you've got to cite ChatGPT. Okay, so now back to the remainder of these 373 words that ChatGPT generated on this subject. It goes on to say, it is also important to consider the context in which ChatGPT is being used. In some cases, the model's responses may be used as part of a larger work, such as a research paper or a novel. In these cases, it may be appropriate to incorporate the model's responses into the overall work, as long as the source, ChatGPT, is being properly credited. However, if the model's responses are the primary focus of the work, or if they are being passed off as original work of the person using the model, then this could be considered plagiarism. In general, the use of ChatGPT should be approached with care and consideration. Properly crediting the source of the model's responses is crucial to avoid plagiarism. And using the model in a way that is consistent with the ethical and legal standards is essential to avoid any potential consequences. Okay, so that's the end of ChatGPT's response on the subject. And I think it starts to touch on a really important issue, which is the context in which ChatGPT is being used and the way in which ChatGPT is being used. So let's talk about context. And that's what I meant about stick around because it depends on who you are and how you're using it. So if you are, for example, a student, you are being judged on your own ability to write that essay, for example. Now, you may not get caught using GPT responses, but academic institutions, I'm sure, will be quick to catch up to ChatGPT. So if you are a student, for example, your primary concern might be plagiarism and some of the academic dishonesty consequences that could come along with plagiarizing ChatGPT. But if you're using ChatGPT in more of a professional context, you might be concerned not only with plagiarism, but also with copyright, like who owns the actual responses that come from ChatGPT. So if you are using this for a commercial purpose, you might be concerned not just with plagiarism and how it's going to affect your grade. If you're using it in a context other than being assessed for the quality of the text itself, but actually for the use of how you're using this text, you might be more concerned with the copyright implications of ChatGPT. So I'm going to do another video on the copyright implications. It is because that really is a related but separate consideration from plagiarism. So in conclusion, everybody needs to worry about plagiarizing ChatGPT, which means if you're using ChatGPT, you need to label your use of ChatGPT. But in addition to plagiarism, if you're using this in a commercial context, you've also got to be concerned about the copyright, the ownership of the text, the legal property right to it, in addition to plagiarism. Everybody needs to be concerned about plagiarism. Some people also need to be concerned about copyright. Thanks for watching. I'll have more videos on ChatGPT, and in general, our channel focuses on providing legal education to entrepreneurs, so like and subscribe for more content like this.